sounds recording.
Okay, so again, we're going to be looking at that lapel reverse De La Riva situation. So again, initiating off of our back, kicks it up, leave the De La Riva hook in, because again, this has a lot of scrambles that usually occur within this sweep. So kicks it up, get that far lapel. Everything is again, compress and kick. So as I pull down, I'm crossing my feet into the reverse De La Riva hook. And then to make him step, I'm going to kick over my head and punch with that grip. So I pull down and then kick over my head to force the guy to step. One of the main details in this position is the constant tension. So feet stay crossed, legs stay kicking and extending, but more importantly is the hand here on the Achilles is pulling into the pocket. Okay, always keeping it shelved on top of your hip line. So once he steps, I release, I scoop, and then how I get to my side is by swinging my knees. So by swinging my knees like so, and by pulling his foot at the same time. So kicks it up, far lapel, cross my feet as I compress, and then kick him over my head and keep the tension. Go for the scoop, twist, and once I get onto my side here, I want to make sure I wiggle and get all the way so I feel strong into the platform. The way I control him here, try and find the knee, get that shin glued in, but usually guys feel off balance enough and want to reset themselves that they kind of pull into the arm slightly, okay? My legs are doing a scissor sweep tension, so keeping that nice and strong, but more so it's the tip of my knee that's keeping him from collapsing in on me. Now once we're here, I push with my knee to step in on the leg, then I release the ankle, and now I'm just going to extend my legs and rotate chest down and onto my elbow to force him to step. The weight's off of me, so now I can technical stand up and complete my sweep. Okay, so again, De La Riva, kicks it up, lapel, compress and kick, scoop and twist, create space, step in, extend with the leg, technical stand up, and most guys will just drop, but if he fights you, just kick the leg out, okay? One last time. Now one thing we're gonna get Mario to adjust to is basing with his hands. So again, if he's fighting, he wants to keep his balance, it's very unlikely that he's going to stay hands off of the floor. So boom, here, kick. And when I rotate underneath him in this position, this is what's more realistic. This also makes this option of the sweep a lot easier because the weight starts to be carried more so over the hands. And it's easier to actually push through and get up. The variation of him being a little bit unrealistic is just to tip him backwards. So boom, here, kick, get to here. So if he's standing upright, instead of trying to struggle here because his weight is more so to my backside, so for me to rotate forward and away doesn't make as much sense. Now I can force him to put his hands down by basically doing a scissor sweep, just kick him forward and make him plant. But if he comes back, if he does this, release, step, I scoop my hip out as I pull his knee back and I kick up at the same time. Force the guy to fall. Don't go straight into a triangle. As I come up, right into a sack. Okay, let's drill that real quick. This feels pointless. Now, so everything the same, but now again, if I maintain that grip on the ankle, which as I mentioned in the other class, it is more secure. It's harder for the person to get away. I would probably typically stick with this option if it was no-gi, and we'll talk about no-gi after too. So kicks it up, lapel, cross, get underneath, rotate as you scoop. So from here, instead of releasing this grip right here, I keep it. Everything stays the same. It's just that the finish becomes a little bit jankier. So I'm going to get him to fall faster because his knee's going to buckle to the mat. But by being hung up here, you can kind of see like I stay all scrunched up and I fight my own power of my leg. I would overpower my grip if I fully committed to that kick, which is why I don't like this option as much. So as he falls, again, just technical stand up, clear the leg, and finish on top. Okay, so it's essentially the same sweep. Now, we're gonna switch in, same two sweeps, so you can do either maintaining that grip or bailing and doing the first one. But basically, if he starts to set up his pass as I sit up. So I kicks it up, I go for the lapel. So as I hang out here, a lot of people will stuff the foot and then try and knee cut. right? Go for it. Yep. Knee cut through. Exactly. And then start to pass. So what I'm going to do is just accept that leg. Instead of me pulling him and making him step to scoop, I'm just going to fall under him. So he kicks it up. He starts trying to cross through. I just fall underneath him and rotate. And then again, and he's standing up. And if I want to keep that foot, I'll keep the foot. All right. So again, we just need to fall underneath. So if you guys remember the like side sleeve or the cross sleeve grip sweep, when we're here and we pass through and we go underneath, it's sort of similar to that, except that he's actually going to be stepping in. All right. One last time. Kicks it up. Boom. He goes here. So I just accept. Twist. Wiggle to your side. And then again, this time I'm going to release. So I have the full extension of my leg. You can see how much easier it is for me to get up. Okay? So we did kicks it up, get the lapel, fall back, compress, forcing the person to step, get the position. Then kicks it up, person recognizes the danger and the opportunity, and they try knee cut, and then we counter them midway. And then this time we're going to now counter them directly off of the knee through. So from here, again, he's got his De La Riva. So from this position, again, I'm stuffing his legs, which, don't let that happen. I'll not go right up the top. So again, whenever we stuff this foot, you got to pull your knee to your chest, right? If I push down and you extend your leg, extend, like straighten, see, then there's nothing, I'm just going to fall down. So when I stuff, you got to pull your knee to your chest, right? Because now at least you have this in front of you still. Yeah. So then our technique again was the lapel, knee, compress, and I'll just do the whole knee through here. So step, and snap, and then finishing the actual pass itself. So Mario is going to counter me because in planting here, I gave him that reverse De La Riva hook. He crosses his feet. When I drop down for my grips, he gets his grip. So I just kind of gave him everything he needs to initiate. He's in that sprung position. But because my weight is behind his butt line or behind his hip line, if he tries to kick up, I'm going to be a little bit heavy. So if he just chills out here and waits for me to take my step and then kick. So as I extend this way, he redirects that energy that I wanted to go lateral and force me to step where I shouldn't step. And then he scoops and he finishes his sweep, whichever variation he wants to do. Exactly. Okay. So one more time. Let's go over here. So again, I compress his legs. I drop down for my grips. He's patient. As soon as I do this, he kicks again over his head, which redirects me. He falls under and finishes the position. Okay? Now, again, all these sweeps, once we're in this position, are interchangeable. Do you want to keep the ankle? Do you want to let go of the ankle? Or any of the other next intangibles that come up? So, the next intangible is going to be if I went too far, where the guy had long legs or took a really big step. So he stuffs, boom, he drops down for his position. Okay, right, for that knee cut. So as he takes that step, I kick. So as I rotate, I notice that his leg is really far. If you can posture up a little bit just so they can see. So here, I feel like I'm not really in position. If I wait here too long, you might drop your hip on me, you might spin all the way around. So from here, all I need to do is get my back take. Just rotate through, get your double butterfly hooks, get your grip, and then get your seatbelt and hooks in. So one more time. Again, he stuffs. He gets his grips, and that's when I get mine. When he takes a step, I kick it. And again, floating foot. I go to rotate underneath, but I realize, I went too far. So I just shift. Oh, sorry, he's sitting already. Shift, hooks, I load his weight, pull down, and extend away. Yeah. Okay? Give that one a try. 1, 2. Okay. It's filming. Okay, so as to your question there, Jocelyn. So, Mario? So again, whatever the reason being, and they could be off any entrance, right? So I could go here, he could stuff from this position, and as I rotate underneath, I went, let's be nice and solid here, could have gone too far. So any of these baby bolo options, there's no perfect situation. I could completely disengage and jump out and get my hooks in, right? But we always want to try and limit athleticism whenever we can, because again, if You can be unathletic and do it, then you can be athletic and do it. So the Greg version of this, so we'll go for the first thing here, step, stuff, he goes to step, I kick, I scoop, and then as the leg passes over my head, so what I was showing is that basically here, this is already a butterfly hook. So for me, I like to just basically lock that in, get a grip, and then I can fight for this. Because ultimately, I can do the back take with one leg, and then it just stays as a hook. But two is always better than one. So what Greg was looking at, so boom, stuff, he steps, I kick, I rotate underneath, he goes too far, was that he was going for the second butterfly hook immediately. Okay, this one goes in, and then that way he can transition straight through. So he circles that leg in without giving up the control, and then finds the first hook second. There's no real wrong way of doing it so long as you do it. Okay, but you guys can try that variation. There. Mario again. Okay, so the intangibles again, we just talked, okay, if you go too deep, I mean, you could have aimed for that, it's just, it doesn't really make sense. Why, there's a lot of mobility there. If I rotate through with the purpose of trying to like throw his leg over to take his back, like if he follows that momentum at all and he just keeps pivoting on me, so just keep pivoting on that leg, just turn back to face me, and then we just end up here. So it's, you know, no harm, no foul. But if he treats this with our breakdancing pass that we use for a deep half guard entrance, like he drops his hip on me and then turns back over my head, it's gonna be bad. So I would try my best to avoid this situation, but if it happens, there is something you can do. Okay, so he stuffs my legs. Oops, sorry, buddy. Kick, get into position here. So now, if he puts this knee down, it doesn't make any sense, but just in case, if he puts this knee down, he swept himself. My extension was trying to do this. So if he sits down, like I'm just going to come up. I barely have to do anything. So very few, if anybody, is going to do that. But the more likely scenario, stuff, blah, 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 here, is putting this knee down. Okay, if he puts this knee down on the floor, I get jammed up, and now even if I can extend, there's no way, all of his weight is committed over this knee. So this is where the waiter sweep comes in. So I'm going to basically rock onto my shoulder blades, so I'm not changing the angle of my, my hip at all, I'm just rotating upwards. Now as I do this, I'm continuing to control the foot. I'm now going to do our basic triangle. I elevate, and as I elevate, I let go and switch this foot into a scoop. Oops, sorry, okay, scoop. And as I elevate and I scoop, I'm then going to pop a triangle. And now I have the rocking motion of my hip to buckle his knee and drag him all the way to the far side. Okay, now, you notice how my legs are in the way? This is where you're going to change your angle. Oh, Maria's trying to help me out too much here. And end up on top, okay? One more time. So actually, sorry, without you. So again, we get to here, he puts this knee down. So I'm using my shoulder to elevate here. It's almost like an inversion here. I lift, pushing my knee into the thigh. I switch to a scoop, and in that same lift, I pop the triangle, and then I rock him, and then I go through to finish my pass. So, take Mario this side. So again, he stuffs, boom, I kick, he drops the knee on me. So, change the angle, elevate, pop, drag, and then switch and finish your pass. Okay?
I like the way you're sweep.
Sorry?
I like the way you're sweep.
It's nice. It feels good once you learn it.